button and subscribe button as you come in to the chat. This is a place where we have smart conversations about smart issues, and we walk away as better people by the time we're done. So if you're not trying to build the community, trying to do good things with your life, then this may not be the place for you. So anyway, so what's on my mind today? I just saw this really interesting, some will say a disturbing article in which NBA star CJ McCollum said something that really surprised me. I don't know if you guys saw it or not. Let me know if you saw it or not. But he basically said, CJ basically says that, at least in his view, that 1/3 of all NBA players are living paycheck to paycheck. He literally said that 1/3 of all NBA players are, like one step away, one, setback away from living in their mama's basement. And that kind of blew my mind a little bit. That kind of blew me because, I just really thought we were just a little bit smarter financially, or that we'd made some progress. And apparently we haven't made as much progress as I think. And so let me just find the article here because I think it's worth talking about. And as a finance professor, you guys know this kind of thing bothers me because, money matters. Like having enough money in your bank account is very important if you're Black. Because you're Black, it's really important for you to think about your financial security. Now, I understand, if you never have access to anything. I understand if, the white man comes by and beats you upside the head and takes all your money every time you get a check. I would understand if you never had a chance to make any money. But when you get a little bread in your pocket and you just give it all away, I mean, who do you blame for that? I mean, can you blame white supremacy for that? I mean, maybe you can a little bit because it is responsible for the massive amounts of brainwashing that make, 80% of all little Black boys want to become rappers and basketball players. But it's kind of crazy. So anyway, let me, is that Siyabonga? I hope I pronounced that right. All the way from South Africa. That's excellent. That's excellent. All right, so let me find the article here. He was on a show hosted by I think Jay Williams. I think that's his name. Was a great player back in the day. And so Jay Williams, let's see here. He basically told him. He said, I would say out of 450 players, 150 are probably living paycheck to paycheck. So he was on Jay Williams' podcast called The Boardroom. And McCollum is a smart guy. He's the vice president for the NBA Players Association. And so he's kind of a representative for the athletes. And he said there will be a drop in the salary cap next season due to lost revenues. And he says that's going to hurt the players. He says, quote, I think a lot of guys are going to be hurting, especially people on minimums or people that didn't just budget correctly and didn't expect this to happen. Maybe they loaned money or paid money to family. Maybe they're taking care of multiple people. And now there's a work stoppage for us and for a lot of people in America. So I'm going to do a quick survey. I would like to, where's my Vicky Dillard gavel? I got my Vicky Dillard gavel, and I'd like to call a quick meeting of the Council of Intelligent Black People. So the Council of Intelligent Black People, I'd like to bring you all together really quickly to ask to do a survey. How many of you are surprised that CJ said, I mean, in the year 2020, that, that 1/3 of all NBA players are living paycheck to paycheck? How many of you were surprised by that finding, if you want to call it a finding, or that revelation, if you want to call it a revelation? How many of you were kind of blown by that? Just kind of like, whoa, what the hell? Like, this is not something that, okay, Marquis says not surprised at all. Jacosta says not surprised. Okay, let me see here. Who else? Eric, not surprised. Belinda said very surprised. Okay. Well, I'm going to tell you guys the truth. I'm very surprised. I was very surprised. And actually what I want to do is I'm going to actually dig up some statistics on NBA player salaries. Okay, so let's start with the minimum. NBA minimum salary for 2020. The NBA minimum salary, the lowest salary in the NBA is some poor guy who makes $1.5 million. And they don't have his name here. But, I'm looking here. Let me see. NBA minimum salaries for 2019. God, these numbers are so bad. How much do they make minimum? Okay, wait. Sorry about that. I said 1.5 million. 898,000 is the lowest that an NBA player is allowed to earn. So I don't know if anybody's making the actual absolute minimum, but I'm looking here on Fox Business, and they're saying that for the 2019-2020 season, the average player's salary is $7 million a year, which is a little over $500,000 a month. The median salary, which is the very middle, the mean is different from the median. The median salary is $2.96 million. So the guy right in the middle, who has the very middle salary, is making $2.96 million. And Ill Will says net or gross. Well, first of all, I would say it doesn't matter that much. I mean, whether it's net or gross, if you're making that kind of loot, like, you're not supposed to be broke in America, right? The average American probably makes 30, 40. Let me see. What's the average American make? Let me see. Let me look this up. Average American salary. The average American salary is $56,516. So that means that the average NBA player, if I'm not mistaken, I got to do the math in my head. Let's see. If you're making about $600,000 a month, which is about the median, that means you're making about $20,000 a day, which means that you make the average American salary in a little less than 3 days, about 2.5 to 3 days. Every 2.5 to 3 days, you're making the average salary of the average American. Okay, so you ain't really supposed to be up in the struggle. You ain't supposed to be paycheck to paycheck. But now, mind you, this is a conversation where we're not here to ridicule anybody or dog anybody out or make fun of anybody, but it's one that we should really cover. So first thing I'm going to say is, I'm not surprised in the sense that, you guys know I taught at a lot of college campuses through the years. I taught at Syracuse, Ohio State, University of Kentucky, Indiana University. So I ran into a lot of college basketball players who were going to the NBA, college football players who were going to the NFL. And let me just say this. This is where the white man got y'all basically bent over, holding your ankles, because it's racism. I mean, it's systematic racism. Systematic meaning systems designed to keep you oppressed as a black man. A lot of those guys could barely read. A lot of those guys, I'm talking about college graduates, got a piece of paper in their hand and maybe some student loans to go with it. College graduates leaving school who could barely read. So here's what you're looking at in America, right? You have a capitalist society. Capitalism is built on competition. Capitalism is built on this idea, this very basic idea that smart people end up taking money away from people who are not so smart. Not saying that being broke means you're dumb, because some of us just start off broke, but you get 10 million in the bank. You can't even read a contract. You don't even know anything about investing, asset allocation, compound interest. You know nothing about that. Well, guess what? Some little white boy from Harvard is going to smell you from a mile away, and he's going to, in the back of his mind, he's going to be like, oh, fresh meat, right? So he's literally like salivating over this idea that you've got this person who is psychologically numb to his responsibility to protect his wealth, and he's sitting on his bank accounts on swole. His bank account is overflowing with money. And again, because you have this white supremacist system that trains these young brothers to only look for the booty and the bling and the parties and whatever, then you're not even paying attention. Like you're unconscious, and people who are unconscious are very vulnerable. If you're not financially conscious, then you will be economically exploited. When they use that term woke, Woke is deeper than what you think. Woke is not what you think it is. A lot of y'all don't even know what it means to be woke. Woke means I'm alert. I'm looking around. I'm checking. I'm the fine print. I'm observing your behavior. A lot of our brothers that go to the NBA and NFL are not economically woke. So if you're not woke, then that means you're unconscious. When you're unconscious, then a predator will make you his prey, right? Do you follow what I'm saying? You know, whether you talk about in the bedroom, like you passed out drunk, if you around a predator, what's a predator going to do if you passed out drunk and you're not conscious? They going to sneak in there and do something they ain't supposed to do. Rick Ross rapped about it, right? Remember the feminist jumped on Rick Ross and he rapped about it? Well, yeah, they should have jumped on him because that's not funny, right? But that's one of those things, right? It happens. It's something I wish we could stop it. We can't. The same thing is true when it comes to people raping your pockets. So a lot of these athletes, not all of them, this is not all of them though. I'm not, because you got some smart guys out here that get it. You got some smart guys out here. I had a conversation with a young guy who was a boxing champion. I went to one of those Hollywood parties, and this guy, he had just been made like the one of the divisions. He was like world champion, literally. And I'm sitting there talking to this guy. He's about this big. I mean, he looks so small. Like I felt like I could just pick him up and throw him across the room. But obviously, he would knock me out with one punch. But he literally was the world champion. Had just gotten like an $8 million purse for winning this world championship. And we're just in line to get in this party in Hollywood, and we're just talking. And I was so impressed with the fact that once he found out I had a PhD in finance, he was asking me all these questions about investing and money and wealth building. And I'm like, oh, this is great. This is awesome, right? So you got some smart athletes out here. You can't stereotype and assume that every athlete's stupid, because we know that's not true. But we can also talk about the fact that, you've got far too many situations where somebody has told you that because you can dribble a basketball, that you don't really need to learn how to read that well. Or because you can throw a football, that you ain't really got to study. And those people are not your friends. Those people are basically fattening you up so they can exploit you, like the same way KFC will fatten up a chicken before they chop its head off and eat it, right? Or before they chop the head off and sell it down the river. They're selling you down the river. And that's pretty much how this athletic farm works. So, I'll say this. I'm not going to talk about. Thank you, Freddie, for your donation, but I'm not going to talk about the virus stuff now. I'll talk about that later. But literally saying those words on my podcast, literally, YouTube is wiping videos for people even talking about it. But I will talk about that. I did talk about the stimulus checks and the child support. That there is a video on that. So just look up my name and look up child support stimulus, and you'll see that video. I had a lot to say about that. But I'll also talk about some of the other issues as well. But anyway, so here's the point. When you're talking about these athletes and CJ McCollum's statement, I'm gonna hope, I really hope and pray that CJ was exaggerating, that this can't be the case. But when you're talking about those situations where it is the case, it's not very surprising because, a lot of times, for example, when the agents have the players sign contracts or representation agreements, they're assuming you're not going to read the contract. They're assuming that you're going to be distracted by big, shiny objects. They're assuming that you're going to get bored and not want to read the fine print. They're assuming that you don't have anybody representing your interests and looking out for you. And so at the very least, if you're not able to understand what's going on, you should probably have somebody there who does understand it. Because, when you talk about the steps of wealth, and we talk about this a lot in the Black Business School, the basic steps of wealth are: 1, figure out where the money's at; 2, make a plan to get your hands on the money; 3, work that plan, execute it, and, on rinse and repeat until you acquire some assets; and then 4, learn how to protect your assets. And asset protection is critical because 70% of all wealthy families lose all their wealth within one generation. Like Warren Buffett said that the wealth game is nothing more than a transfer of wealth from dumb people to smart people, from unconscious people to woke people, from impatient people to patient people. He said that in so many words. I embellished his quote to add in a little bit, but that's pretty much what it is. if you are not economically conscious, if you're not economically intelligent, and nor do you want and don't want to be, if you are easily distracted, and if you are impatient, then it doesn't matter how much money I put into your bank account, you're going to find a way to lose it. You see, because what happens to these guys is that you're pushed through this racist educational system that doesn't encourage you to learn anything. I had the hardest time getting a lot of the guys when I was teaching at University of Kentucky in Syracuse. It was very difficult to get the athletes to pay as much attention to finance class as they were paying to, trying to get to the NBA or the NFL, even though 99.9% of them never made it. Right. But who am I to come in and be a dream killer? Who am I to make you think that, it's really, really difficult to get a chance to play football at a school like a Syracuse. So who am I to tell you that you're not going to make it to the NFL? Life has to tell you that, because I know the statistics. I know that even though you were the best player in your county, or you were runner up for Mr. Football in your state, that still means that the distance between you and the NFL is pretty broad. But here's the other thing, though. When you are in that 1%, 2%, whatever the number is that actually gets there, if you're not prepared, like, they're really ready to rip you off. Like, they're waiting for you, and they laugh at you. They think that black men are stupid. They look at you like you the dumbest motherfucker on the planet. Excuse my French. I'm going to stop cussing. But they look at you like you are a complete dumbass, and that all you want to do is sit around and imitate rappers and run around and bling out. I know the word bling is old. I don't give a shit. But seriously, like, just waste your money, throw it all up in the air, and just do stupid stuff with it. And they're laughing about that. That's what they talk about when you're not around. When they get together and they're talking to their other Jewish buddies from Harvard and stuff like that, they're sitting around laughing. They're like, yeah, you know how the black guys are. Right? And now listen, now here's what you're dealing with, right? So you're going into this economic game, this game of economic warfare, where people play the game called powernomics, where it's all about power and wealth accumulation, even at the expense of others. So you're playing a really serious economic game, and you ain't even ready. You showing up to the NBA finals and you ain't never dribbled a basketball. You're showing up to the Super Bowl and you ain't never took a hit, and you're 400 pounds overweight. You're showing up to a very serious game that they've been practicing for their entire lives because their parents prepared them to play the wealth game, and you're showing up empty-handed, unskilled, out of shape, very weak, not ready, unprepared, no battle plan, no strategy, no offense, no defense, no special teams, no nothing. So how in the world do you think that you're going to enter into the game of global economic competition and actually have a chance to win? How do you think? I mean, your agent, he wasn't trying to get to the NBA. He was trying to get through Yale. Your manager, he went to Harvard and he studied business. Your accountant, your accountant went to Stanford and they took several classes on accounting, finance, and investing in real estate. So they understand LLCs and trusts and estate planning and real estate and all the things that you never learned about because you spent all your time memorizing hip hop lyrics and learning how to dribble a damn basketball. Like that's the thing. So you're now playing a different game. And you ain't ready for the game. And if anybody understands this, and I'm talking to athletes right now, if anybody understands what happens when you show up to the big game and you ain't been practicing, you're going to get your ass handed to you. You will get your ass kicked up and down the court. And that's what's happening to some of these guys. And here's the thing. Once you start making that much money, you have a big bullseye on your forehead. I think they know this. You're no longer a regular person anymore because you're a person that's got $10 million in the bank. And if you show up sleepy and stupid and unwoke and not paying attention, then they will rob you blind. Dennis Rodman was one of many athletes who got robbed like crazy, during his days with the Chicago Bulls. Go look it up. Dennis Rodman lost millions of dollars because he had some agent or manager or something that was like basically taking all of his money and he had no idea what was going on. And he's not the only one. There's a whole bunch of them. I think Kevin Garnett, a lot of these guys. So when CJ McCollum makes that statement, it just a lot of thoughts go through my mind, a lot of frustrations actually. And so rather than just yelling about it and being mad about it, why don't we do something about it? Why don't we consider some basic things that we can do? First things first. Here's a one little tidbit. If you take this advice to heart, it will change your life dramatically. Here's a fundamental basic fact. And I understand this because I am a financial scientist. That means I sat around for 20 years doing nothing but studying 8 hours a day about how money works. Seriously, 7 days a week, including Christmas. I did this. This is what I do. 90% of all millionaires are stock market investors. 90% of all millionaires invest in the stock market. Did you guys know that? Give me a yes or no if you knew that. So one way that Black people can get ahead economically is put some of your money where the millionaires put their money. Just do what they do. Seriously, just copycat some of what they do. Just get on your Cash App, whatever, buy yourself some shares of stock and buy some stock for your kids. And then buy consistently every week for the next several years. And you will whatever income bracket you're in, studies show you will increase your income bracket as time goes on. It's such an easy strategy that even an idiot can't get that wrong. So for Black people, if we increase our stock market participation rates, then we will increase our wealth levels far more than any reparations check will ever do for you. Seriously. There's actually a free video. If you want to go, I got a free training. It doesn't cost you anything. You can go to firstshareofstock.com. That's firstshareofstock.com. So I am begging you guys. I'm really begging you, everybody who's watching this. You're hearing frustration come out of me. I'm really sweating because this stuff makes me mad because I feel like I've been repeating myself for the last decade. Some people listen, some people don't. But what I would like to do is I would like for everybody who comes to my podcast, just as a sign of respect to me, please, and to yourself and to your children, it ain't just about me. Just start investing, please. Please do that. It's not hard to do. It's very straightforward. And again, the training video that I put together, 800,000 people have watched it. So it's not like nobody's listening. I know somebody's listening. I'm talking to people that don't listen. But 800,000 people watched it. They all love the video. You can watch it for nothing. It's at firstshareofstock.com. I will make an offer to you when you get there, but you don't even have to take it. Just ignore that if you want. I don't care. But I'm telling you guys, when I study, all this wealth stuff, when you study where wealth goes in America and how people get it, how people lose it, what you find is that those who participate in the stock market have far more wealth than those who do not. In fact, it's almost impossible to become wealthy not participating in the stock market. If you are one of these NBA players that comes into a lot of money, there are some basic things that you must do in order to protect your wealth. That means that you should have somebody in your camp that you trust who understands wealth protection mechanisms like LLCs, trusts, foundations, wills, estate planning, all those things, so that they can make sure that your money is protected. Because once you get that money, that you get all that money, you have it in your personal checking account. You go to the club, you step on somebody's toe, or you get drunk and grab a girl's booty. Next thing you know, she's suing you for $10 million. And that's special treatment, preferential treatment that you're going to receive because you're a millionaire. She wouldn't sue a regular guy for $10 million for grabbing her booty, but she'll sue you for $10 million because she knows you got it. So ultimately, protecting that wealth is extremely important. Developing mechanisms to create financial security is really important. You can still enjoy your money. Shaquille O'Neal is a great example. Shaquille O'Neal, God bless Shaq. Because Shaq, he's big and mean, and he couldn't shoot a free throw worth of shit. But Shaq was smart in the sense that he basically got his mama in his company. I think his mama was the first employee he ever hired. And his mama basically said, you can take this money over here and have fun with it. But this part over here, mama going to take care of that. Mama's going to invest that money. Mama's going to watch this money. And do you know that by the time Shaq got to the Lakers, which I think might have been in the 5th year of his career, he was still living, I think all through his years with the Lakers, he was living off of money that he made early in his career playing for the Magic. So now Shaquille O'Neal makes more money. If I'm not mistaken, he makes more money now than he made as an NBA player. His wealth is very, very high. He's probably on his way to becoming a billionaire. So Shaq is just one example, but there's 1,000 examples like that. But there's a lot of counter examples where, we get into this, this culture, that's really embarrassing for us. It's destructive. It's sad. You're talking about the continuous destruction of generational wealth. It always links back to white supremacy. The white man taught you how to hate yourself. He taught you how to destroy yourself. He taught you how to destroy each other. So racism's not off the hook in all of this. But once you become conscious of what's going on and why it's happening, at that point, it is your responsibility to say, I'm going to break that cycle. So I'm just saying to everybody in here, not just the athletes, I'm talking to everybody. Seriously, let's break some cycles, man. Let's start being smart. Let's start being as great as we know that we can be. You can still live your life. You can still have fun. You can still do your thing. Just do whatever you want with your life. But just think about your future too. Think about your children too. Seriously. So that's my 2 cents on it. I think it's absolutely unbelievable when you talk about a third of all athletes living paycheck to paycheck. There's no excuse for that. But then again, these guys are young. You give them that much money when they're young and they're not financially educated, then that's what's going to happen. America will always be a country that will be much quicker to teach a black man to dribble a basketball than to teach a black man how to make an investment. And the only investment they want your black ass to make is shooting more jump shots and learn how to do a better crossover dribble so you can score more points for the winning team or whatever. That's the only investment they want you to make is in your athletic ability. And what I'm saying is invest in your ability to be a strong black man for the community. If you are a black man who has that much money and you waste all that money, that's very sad. I'm going to say that. I'm not going to say you should be ashamed of yourself, but you should be ashamed of yourself. But I'm not ashamed of you. But it doesn't matter what I think. What matters is what you think. You should be ashamed of yourself. I'm not telling you I'm ashamed of you, but I'm saying you as a man, when you run through $50 million because you spending all your money on every big butt and a smile that walks by, or buying European cars and ain't even thinking about your kids, or blowing 100% of your money when you really could have just blown, say, 75% and still had a nest egg, then you got to look at yourself as a man and kind of understand that you did let your teammates down. And I'm not talking about your teammates that play with you on the Brooklyn Nets or your teammates that play with you on the Dallas Cowboys. I'm talking about the teammates in your own community who need you to be intelligent with your wealth so you can help black people out of this damn struggle. I'm talking about your teammates in your own damn family, your children who are going to need you to be financially responsible so that you can take care of them in the event that something happens to you. I'm talking about your teammates as far as future generations of people that are impacted by the fact that you just blew $1 billion opportunity. When Antoine Walker, y'all know Antoine Walker? And when Antoine Walker played for the University of Kentucky, I went to school with Antoine. I remember that there was little rumors that Antoine couldn't read back then, but those white folks didn't care. They just wanted him to stay eligible so they could go win another championship. So Antoine goes to the NBA, he makes $110 million and blows it all. And doing God knows what. I don't know what. I'm sure he did a lot of partying during that time. And now here's the thing. Because I understand how money can grow and what money can become if you invest it properly, I realized Antoine didn't blow $110 million. That's a tiny conservative estimate of the amount of money he lost. Antoine lost $1 billion. He threw away $1 billion because even a fraction of that money, if invested properly, would have made him into a billionaire, and he would have left $1 billion fortune to his children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren, and great-great-grandchildren. So there are unborn children in the year 2150 who are going to be born in poverty because they had a great-great-great-grandfather named Antoine Walker who came into all the money in the world and threw it in the garbage. So I'm not dissing Antoine. This is not a diss at all. I'm not even getting into that. This is really a revelation, hopefully for some of you. Hopefully this is a matter of this is an awakening. This is me letting you guys know that we've got to rethink how we view wealth in our community if we're ever going to move forward. In fact, if they issued reparations right now, I'm sorry. I'm one of those people that does honestly feel that if they issued a $3 trillion reparations package tomorrow, a big chunk of our community would just throw that money in the garbage. So I'm not telling you that you always have to save or you always have to invest or you can't go buy a pair of Jordans. You can't go buy new clothes. You can't enjoy your money. I've never said that. What I have said is that your investment strategy, your saving strategy, your wealth building strategy must be as important to you as the amount of time you put into memorizing a Cardi B song, the amount of time you put into learning how to do a new dance on the internet, or the amount of time that you might spend going to see the new Black Panther movie when Disney puts that out in the theaters. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying make it all equally important. That's what I'm trying to share with you guys. So I'm done talking. If you're in the Black Business School, by the way, I'm actually going to do a full lecture on this in a couple of days that all the students will be invited to. I'm going to literally call it the keys to financial security. And I'm going to break down the 7 things that a person should do if they want to be financially secure, meaning not living paycheck to paycheck. So if you haven't at least done like a free membership in the Black Business School, go ahead and do that. Or if you want to just start investing in the stock market, if you're on this channel, I really want you to at least buy something, at least a little stock for your children so that you can say you're participating in the stock market. So go to firstshareofstock.com. The free video training is at that link. You can go there for free and just watch the video for a few minutes. I'll show you how to invest in 15 minutes. There's no reason to be afraid. Don't listen to your stupid relatives who tell you the stock market is the devil and the whole economy is going to crash. People have been saying that for 100 years. It has not been true. I'm asking you to trust what I'm telling you. I do this for a living. I have been teaching college students this stuff for 20-something years. My students at Syracuse pay $60,000 a year to learn from people like me. I know what I'm talking about. Go start investing, invest consistently, and never spend more money on cheeseburgers and fast food than you put into your future. So whatever amount of money you spend on fast food, maybe that could be your weekly investment in your stock portfolio, because you should never, because I'm going to tell you, a person who puts more money into stupid stuff than they put into things for their own future is not going to have a future. Why would you invest more in Popeye's chicken and buying chicken sandwiches than you put into your own future? That doesn't make any sense. So at least do that. At least do that basic thing. I'm not asking you to go out and change the world. I'm not asking you to rise to the highest level. I'm not asking you to be a financial miser. I'm asking you to just do the basics. And if you do the basics and you do them consistently, it will make a massive difference in your life. Okay, guys. So that's all I want to say. Thank you for hanging out with me. Hit the thumbs up button, hit the share button, hit the subscribe button. Also, the website again is firstshareofstock.com. I did a survey on my page and I asked how many of you are invested in the stock market on some level. The numbers were not what I wanted them to be. I was very, very disappointed. I'm not going to lie. I was very, very sad that I've been talking about this stuff for years, and so many of you haven't even tried. Just please, just do it for your kids, man. I'm not lying to you. Go look up the data. 90% of all millionaires are stock market investors. There's a connection there. It's not because somebody just gave them all a bunch of money. Some of them are self-made millionaires. Many of them didn't have any money when they were children. They just made certain decisions. So just go do it. Go do it. That's the one piece of advice. Most of the time, you guys know, I don't tell you what to do. Most of the time I say, do what's best for you. Here's just some information. This is one area where I can confidently say that people who consistently invest in the stock market do better economically than people who do not. So again, the website's firstsharestock.com. Totally free. Go give it a try. And that's it. I'm out. I'm done. I'm gonna go to bed. Alicia's gonna be mad at me for getting all mad and yelling and screaming. But when I saw that NBA thing, it just pissed me off. I swear to God, it made me mad. I'm serious. You ever heard that acronym for poor? Passing over opportunities repeatedly. I understand if you're born in the hood and your mama's on crack and your daddy stabbed you when you were a baby, and there's no jobs anywhere, and you're only 5'2", so you never get a chance to do anything. I can get that, right? I can say, man, that's really, really tough to come out of that situation. But I don't understand it when you went to play for the Phoenix Suns and got a $40 million contract, and you still living like you broke. I don't get that. That doesn't make any sense to me. That does not compute for me. So at the end of the day, as much as we want to listen to, it's right? We know that there's a legitimate claim that racism is a big chunk of the reason that Black people struggle. And there's no question about that. I've broken that down for you. But there's a point where we must commit ourselves to some level of personal responsibility. There must be some point where you say, okay, you know what? I can't put this one on the white man. Like the white man did, the white man is not the reason I chose never to read a book. The white man is not the reason that I never chose to take care of my kids. The white man is not the reason that I got 20 million and blew it all at the strip club, right? So what I'm saying to you guys is that you must, part of empowerment means having the power to take responsibility for your own decisions. Once you become conscious and aware and awake, once you become aware of the source of your oppression and the nature of your oppression, then at that point, it's more of a choice as to whether or not you're going to overcome that oppression or divert your actions in a different direction. I'm going to give you an example. This is really funny. This is a less serious tone because I've been pretty serious tonight because this is what's on my spirit right now. When my mama told me, she said that I wore diapers. I'm a little embarrassed to tell this story, but I'm telling you anyway. She said I wore diapers longer than I was supposed to. And I was a baby. I didn't know how long I was supposed to wear a damn diaper. And she said that, and my mom was a teen mom. When she got pregnant with me, she was 16. She gave birth to me at 17. And I was born in the projects. I lived in the projects till I was about 3 years old. And so my mother said that the day that she knew she had to potty train me was when I walked up to her with my diaper in my hand and I laid it down and I laid back and I said, "Change me." And she said that's when she knew, okay, this Negro does not need to be wearing a diaper. He's old enough to be potty trained, right? Because I was conscious of the fact that I needed my diaper changed. And I was like, I don't want to do it. Like, I need you to do it because you're the lady who changes my diaper. Now, that's an embarrassing story to tell. But the reason I tell that stupid story, I know it's stupid. Y'all going to clown me the hell out of me for this one. But I share that story because you got Negroes out here all day that can analyze to the end of time how racism is the reason that they're oppressed and how racism causes this and racism causes that. And the white man did this and they did that to us and blah, 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 blah. So once you get to the point where you can break down all the different ways they're trying to hold you back, all the different ways they're trying to destroy you, all the different ways they're trying to take all your wealth, all the different ways that they've harmed you, at that point, you can't call yourself a victim anymore. You can't continuously say, well, I'm a victim, but I knew, that he pulled out the knife and I knew he was going to stab me. And so I waited in the alley for him to stab me because I knew that he was coming at 8:00 and I knew which direction the knife was coming. I knew he was going to use a knife and not a gun. And he still stabbed me in the gut because I'm a victim. No, you weren't a victim, you dumb motherfucker. You should have known. Get your ass out of the alley. Get ready. Protect yourself. Seriously, like you're stupid if you can tell me that you knew that they were coming to get you and exactly how they were going to attack you, and you were still stupid enough to still sit there and let them do it. So that's what I'm saying. I think as Black people, I think that we have to be honest with ourselves and just know that, like, there's a point where you can't keep walking around with the mantle of victimhood, when you fully can explain and dissect and analyze and decompose exactly how you're victimized every single time. At that point, that means you're admitting by being intelligent, you're admitting that you're stuck on stupid. Seriously. You're like the crackhead who can explain exactly why the crack is killing him and exactly why smoking crack is destroying his life and exactly why smoking crack is going to cause him to die early, right? Well, at that point, then you just got a bad habit and a bad habit. You ever see that? You ever see somebody on dope who can literally explain to you better than you can why the drugs are going to kill them, right? Like, and what that says to me is that says that you're dealing with a person who has not made a commitment to changing whatever bad habit is destroying his life. It's about commitment. It's about discipline. It's about toughness. It's about being worthy of the freedom that you claim to deserve. You claim you want freedom, but freedom is for grown-ups. Freedom is for people that really know how to fight for. Freedom is for people that are willing to make a sacrifice. What are you willing to sacrifice for your freedom? And if the answer is nothing, then you deserve to be a slave. Just go ahead and accept. Just admit it. Just say, look, I just like being a slave. That's where I'm gonna be at. But for those who want to be free, make a conscious choice. Freedom is not easy. Freedom in many cases, freedom is much harder than slavery. Freedom really is, because slavery means you can just sit there and you can just get your ass kicked and just, blame it on somebody else and never take responsibility for your condition. Freedom means taking full ownership of your situation and saying, I'm going to do whatever it takes. By any means necessary, whatever it takes to obtain my freedom, I'm going to do it. That is a very difficult position to be in. So make a choice, make a choice, make a choice. I'm going to go, guys. Please hit the thumbs up button, hit the share button, hit the subscribe button. Also, again, if you want to learn to buy your first share of stock for free, go to firstshareofstock.com. I realized tonight that I need to make it a commitment to try to get to the point where the stock market participation rates of the people that watch my channel are higher, much higher than the general population. So please do that. Just go there, open up any app, Cash App, whatever, buy yourself some shares of stock. And then next time we come back, I want you to just shout out, say something like investor or whatever. We're going to have you type that in the chat to let us know that you're investing for your family, for your children. And then if you really want to impress me, set some sort of auto deposit of some small amount of money that you're comfortable with that will allow you to set the automatic pathway to building wealth long term. It's not an easy process. It's not something that happens quick. I don't know anything about teaching you how to get rich quick, but it's very easy to teach you how to get rich slowly, because that's how most people actually get there, not by getting a record deal. So let's get that shit out of our head and let's start being smart. We are intelligent Black people. We can do this. So I'm out of here, guys. Take care. Love you. And I see some of your questions came in. I told Alicia I would go upstairs and go to bed with her. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. But do me a favor, hit the thumbs up button before you go. And the URL, once again, is firstshareofstock.com. That's firstshareofstock.com. I'll see you soon. And I apologize for all the cussing. I'll try not to do it as much next time. See you later. Peace.